We started last week to talk about the Midda of Nahat. And usually, when Rabbi Israel Salanter deals with this Midda, he talks about the way that a person is supposed to be speaking, to express himself. Divrei Chachamim benachat nishma'im. But in the streets, the word Nahat usually refers very closely to the concept of Chinuch. What do I mean by that? When you wish someone a Derasha to always have Nahat Yehudi, Nahat Mehailadim, that usually refers to the success that a person can have with his children, that they should always give him Nahat, satisfaction. And this week's Parashat Tessaveh, is really the perfect opportunity to talk a little bit about this Nahat that we all wish to have as parents. Because in the very beginning of this week's Parashat, we have the mitzvah of menorah, when we were supposed to have special olive oil for the hadlakat nerot ha-menorah. We always compare those candles, those lights, to our children. The Gemara in Masaka Shabbat says, Hazahir benerot, the one who is careful with the nerot, Havyan banin talmidei chachamim. He'll deserve to have children who are tzaddikim talmidei chachamim. This is even why the holiday of lights is called Hanukkah. Hanukkah also comes from the word chinuch, not only the chinuch of the Beit HaMikdash, but also the chinuch of our children in our homes. And this is why it would be really the perfect opportunity to think and to speak about the concept of Nahat from the children. And today I want to share with you one idea that we find in the Halachot of Hadlakat Menorah Hanukkah that is quite interesting and so relevant when it comes to Nahat from our children. And that Halacha is that when the Kohen Gadol was Madlik u'metiv et hanerot, it says leha'alot ner tamid, which means that you had to make sure to never let his hand go until the flame would reach the majority of its size. Not just to light the wick itself, but to wait, to be patient, and once the flame would go up, only then he would release it. This halacha, by the way, is also in halachot Hanukkah. Halakat nerot Shabbat as well. That when a person will light those nerot, he should not let go right away and rather wait. What is the big deal? What is so important? So Hazal tell us the famous concept of Midda keneged Midda, a measure for measure. The way we act is usually the way that the world will also react with us. Midda keneged Midda. What a Jewish concept that is pretty much in every aspect of our life. And I believe that this is why we have this very special halacha when it comes to the menorah, because it is a lesson for chinuch as well, in the way that we deal with our children. We all want to have nahat, but the way that we have nahat also depends on the nahat that we give them. And think about that word. You know what nahat is? In Hebrew, when you talk about a plane that lands, it's called nechita, the way it lands, the way it actually reaches the ground. And if we think about the word nahat anywhere in the mitzvah of the menorah, that is exactly the halacha that is appropriate for it. When the Kohen Gadol, when the Baal Habayit for the Nerot Hanukkah, when the mother for the Nerot Shabbat are there, holding the match, holding the candle to light the Nerot, have the Nahat that your children need to get from you. Make sure that your Nechita will be long enough. And what does that translate into? Well, it's quite simple. Do you spend enough time with your children? Do you give them the feeling that they are a burden? This is a question we need to ask ourselves, and I speak for myself as a parent. But how do they feel when we are with them? Are we enjoying their presence? Are we enjoying discussions we have with them? Are we trying to just cut it short? And it's also, I think, a really big reminder. When we send our children to school, and obviously we pay a pretty high price for tuition, so we expect the best. If we complain about a teacher, about a Rabbi, that didn't have the patience with our children, who probably have misbehaved, who probably have done a mistake, yes, we want the best for them. But how can we expect that they'll have patience more than we do? Our own children, we show them not enough patience, and we expect that someone else, a stranger, would show a difference, would show something else. I don't think that's very fair. So yes, we need to start with ourselves. We need to make sure to let them feel, to make them feel that spending time with them, learning with them, even playing with them is a moment of enjoyment. It's not something we're going to wait for vacation, Pesach, the summer, but even on a daily basis, with the little amount of time that we have in our hands, because yes, we are all very busy. The question is, that time that we spend with them, how much quality is there? How much time do we make sure to let our hands to stay by those nerot and to wait until they actually feel satisfied? When they are satisfied, when they have Nahat from us, then we can fairly, maybe, hope and expect to have some Nahat from them. And remember, the makor, the source of this halacha, is the pasuk that we mentioned earlier, Leha'alot ner tamid. The concept of Leha'alot means to rise up. Leha'alot means that their growth, the neshama, the level of their success will be measured of how much patience we have shown, how much nahat we have shown them. And then they will grow. Then they will succeed. But not only that, tamid. Leha'alot ner tamid. The concept of consistency. The concept of growth that is steady, that is in balance, that is healthy. How much today, unfortunately, we hear about issues of mental health, problem that there is trauma here and there is some fortunate consequences and sequels that are coming from mistreatment. Leha'alot ner tamid. This halacha is not technical. This halacha is so much more, so much deeper than just staying there for the nerot. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu help us to give them Nahat. And may He also give us Nahat even more than the Nahat that we deserve. Shabbat Shalom U'Barach.